All right, so first of all, thank you everyone for your attention. We're very excited to talk about reciprocity in Native American culture, as well as a local Seneca artist, Penny Mcintyre. So Penny Mcintyre is a Seneca Nation turtle clan of the Hodinöhsö Confederacy. Since 1998, Penny's been carefully crafting and curating her art of basketry and corn husk dolls. The main materials she uses are black ash splints, sweetgrass, leather, and seagrass, all of which she receives from our earth through sustainable trading and reciprocity. Alongside of being an artist, Penny is also a teacher. Her hope is to find a promising student who she can pass her craft and knowledge down to. Go back to my sorry. Her hope is to find a promising student who she can pass her craft and knowledge down to so they can continue the tradition of her art. And considering the majority of Penny's materials come from our earth, she feels very strongly about protecting and respecting our trees through the practice of reciprocity.
So this is a quote from my interview with Penny Mcintyre, and it demonstrates her views and beliefs surrounding reciprocity. This was her talking about using pieces of animals like deer in this instance. So she was saying, so every piece of the element, such as the tree, was used. So if they took an animal, a deer for instance, they would also give up a prayer and say, thank you for giving me this life, for sustaining me. So they had a process of taking the deer and then using every element of the deer. As you can tell from this quote from my transcription of Penny Mcintyre's interview, you can see that reciprocity is very important to her and it's one of her core values. Not only reciprocity between humans, but between humans and animals. Penny Mcintyre also stated in the interview that I had with her that if the students took an animal, they would say a prayer and thank the animal for sustaining life. There is a process of gratitude involved in using every element of the deer is essential. Nothing goes to waste and every part is appreciated.
And then we just wanted to include a map of the Allegheny Territory, which is where Penny resides, just so you can see in relation where she is compared to where we are. And so a glimpse into who Penny is and what she's done. The photo in the top left shows Penny posing in the Iroquois Indian Museum in House Cave, New York. Here, she assisted and submitted her baskets alongside other basket makers from the Allegheny and Cattaraugus Territory. Penny submits the majority of her work into museums, art shows, and exhibits, and the photo in the bottom right can attest to that. Here we see Penny in the Onosogwende Cultural Center receiving a beaded medallion and praise as a traditional Seneca basket maker from the Seneca Territory. And here we just have some of Penny's work. In the top left, we have her corn husk dolls. To the right of that, we have a corn husk cat resembling a bear. In the bottom left, we have a black ash splint snowflake ornament, which is a staple creation Penny uses when she teaches her open communities. To the right of the snowflake, we have a plethora of her baskets. But the piece I want to talk about today is the Be Safe, Stay Home mask she created a few months into the pandemic. At first glance, you'd say this is beautiful. Maybe you like the flower, or the strawberry, or the blue beads. But this piece is much more than just a flower, strawberry, or beads. When you take into consideration Native culture, you understand that the flower is actually a tobacco plant, a plant used by Native Americans as a vessel to send their prayers to the Creator. And the strawberry isn't just a sweet fruit. In fact, it's the Creator's favorite fruit, and the first to arrive in spring, representing beginnings and endings. And the blue beads aren't randomly placed. They represent the raindrops granted by the four thunderers, as water is our most sacred element we need to survive and thrive. So when you look back at this mask, it's much more than a mask. It's a story and a tangible prayer.
And you were able to view the Hodinöhsö art show at Ganundigan too.
That's coming up.
Oh, okay. Didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No worries.
Yeah.
And then these are some of Penny's tools that she uses for her basket making. Over here, this bone, it's the deer hip bone, and she uses that to pack everything down for the baskets. And then there's just some other tools over here. And here's the Hodinöhsö art show.
There it is. So when I took my first class with Dr. Zinni, I had the pleasure of attending the 2020 Hodinöhsö art show. This art show showcases Indigenous people from all nations and their artwork, and as you can see, Penny won second place with her round basket purse made of black ash splint, sweetgrass, and seagrass. And what I've noticed with the majority of Penny's work is that intention is the main aspect to her art. Often I see a lot of art representing negative emotions such as rage, and sadness, and frustration. And I can totally understand that. Whenever I'm angry or sad, I like to make art. I use it as a vessel to take those negative emotions from me and put them elsewhere so I don't have to deal with them. But what I realized is I'm only imbuing my art with those negative emotions rather than letting them pass through me. So the story with Penny's round basket purse is it actually took her 12 years to make. 12 years ago, she held a purse just like this one, but that was it. She had no reference, no idea where to even begin, and yet she still began. She told me of how fun it was to make such a complex purse, telling me how she started in the middle with the purple splint and sweetgrass and worked her way out to the edges. Telling me how when she finished one side, she had to figure out how to duplicate the other side exactly so they fit. Telling me how she was an engineer working her way through every weave just from her memory. And all I could think was, I am the most impatient, most easily frustrated person ever. But after she told me about the process, she told me about the importance of intention. How, while she was weaving the purple splint and sweetgrass, she was infusing the basket with her good energy. Every weave and every development made on this purse held her emotions, her thoughts, her energy in every single braid. And it completely changed my outlook, because in life, with every move I make, there's always this negativity lingering behind me, telling me the worst case scenario or what could go wrong. But Penny made me believe in the best case scenario, and instantly, I saw a huge positive flow in my life and decisions. Whatever I put out into the world was returned back to me threefold. Intention is key.
And then these are just some baskets that were made by Penny that we wanted to include just to show off some of her work. The significance of Penny's basket making process. So when I did my interview with Penny Miner, I asked the question, is there a significance behind the long process of the basket making? Because she was talking about how long and involved it is, as you can see too from the Hodinöhsö art show, it took her that long to make that bag. Penny answered this question by stating that there was no real significance behind the long process of the basket making, but there was and is a great appreciation for the materials that are used during the process. Here's the quote from her thoughts behind the process of the basket making. I always told my students that back when we were first here, there was nothing here. It was just land, water, and sky. So there was no Walmart they could go to get any of the containers or any of the things that they gathered, a bowl or a basket or whatever so it was just the way it was. That's all they had available to them, so they used every element that they had. Everything that they take from the land was used. So when they take a tree, they use everything that they can for whatever other project besides basket making. So if they're trying to make some cordage, they might take that from the root or whatever. So every piece of the element, such as the tree, was used. If they took an animal, a deer for instance, they would also give up a prayer and say, thank you for giving me this life, for sustaining me. They had a process of taking the deer and then using every element of the deer. Penny Miner explained the importance of using every piece of an element that they took from the earth, whether that element was a tree or a deer. The students had a great appreciation for the element.
And so the last piece of Penny's that I want to talk about today is one that relates to sustainability. But before we talk about this piece, what we need to understand is that sustainability and reciprocity are not at all the same thing. In the book Braiding Sweetgrass by Native American author Robin Wall Kimmerer, she says, sustainability implies that it's okay if we squeeze every single bit out of the natural world as long as we do not kill it. But reciprocity implies that we give back to the natural ecosystems as much as we take from them. So we take into consideration Amazon, one of the largest online shopping monopolies in the world, who, according to Oceana, is responsible for 465 million pounds of plastic packaging waste just a few years ago. And we compare it to what we now know of Penny's work. The divide between the culture of the modern day and where we could be is insurmountable. So I'm going to read directly from Penny's blog, her explanation of this piece, Ellie. This piece is a corn husk doll constructed from Amazon mailing packages and sinew. Her intentions were to tell the story of consumerism in our society today, that there is no away when we throw things away. growing up with the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. It is known that a newspaper that is 50 years old can still be read after being in a landfill for that long. So for Earth Day this year, I constructed Ellie. The piece is called Ellie's Journey Closer to the Heart. She now sits in my living room reminding me every day that there is always something you can do to help our Mother Earth to keep her healthy. So all I ask is that Ellie sticks in your head next time you overnight ship a tube of lip gloss, Mom.
So one thing we needed to talk about was the emerald ash borer and the black ash trees. Penny Miner uses the black ash trees for her basket making, and they're very important to her work. And they're actually being threatened by an invasive species called the ash borer. Penny Miner has stated that trees are very important and significant to her and her beliefs. This black ash tree has been hurt by an invasive species called the emerald ash borer. Since its discovery in 2002, the emerald ash borer has been leaving millions and millions of dead and dying ash trees in its wake. It is threatening to destroy the centuries-old industry of black ash basket making in North America. This would affect Penny's work significantly. Black ash trees are known for their sturdy, flexible wood that can be weaved into baskets that are both beautiful and durable.
And since we've been doing all the talking, we thought that we should let Penny close it out with her words.
And Penny, so you all know, Penny did get a copy of this recording. This is taken from the class, one of the classes, and she has consented, you know, to what Ivy and Nicolina to play this particular clip. Okay, full consent on that. We had a discussion about it last night. And she sends them her regards.
You think about the future and how we are connected, and we're connected to the earth. And sometimes I get really passionate and I get really worried about the future. So every time I teach a class, I was always saying, if anything, plant a tree. It's kind of difficult to talk about because it really hurts. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to get emotional. The trees are all connected. If you ever looked at the roots, they talk to each other. And even when we take a tree, I really do, honestly, thank the Creator for the artwork and the time that it lived for me. And it just seems like artwork seems it seems important, but it also seems like I said, it's a representation of my people. I'm sorry for crying. I did this before when I was teaching a class, and I said, these are precious to me, and I don't know if everybody feels like that, you know, when they're doing their artwork. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm representing those basket makers from the time before. So, it's a great honor.
Just our bibliography and any questions that you have. And our bibliography obviously was very easy to make because of Dr. Zinni. She provided us with all of the materials we've been using in our classes, in my class and her class both. And of course, sorry, this is lagging very bad. Bibliography, as you can see, we have Robin Wolkemure, who, like she said, did an interview with us, and she was just absolutely incredible. She taught us the majority of what we know alongside Dr. Zinni. Yes, that's that. And then any questions you may have, even though we covered all of it. I mean, we're going to have a discussion anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Well, a big hand for both groups. I mean, you see they put in so much effort. And this, Their request was that there be a panel session, huh?